Hey, happy Monday, everybody. This is Alex Harshman with Wholesale Freedom, talking about everything real estate business and my personal life related. I'm starting off a brand new series called Motivational Monday, and what it's going to be about is just me talking about just subjects of the mindset, things like that, psychology, whatever. Nothing like too in-depth, boring, but it's going to be more. It's going to be like motivational stuff, right? I get questions all the time that are mindset related, and how to change that mindset is really what I want to teach you, because that is almost more important than learning the game of real estate. Because if you have the right mindset, you can do anything in the world, not just real estate. And that's why I want to start this series. So, that being said, okay, it's just my reflection in the mirror. I thought somebody was watching me. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So, are leaders born or are they created? And this is a very great question, because when I was growing up, I thought I had to be like this spectacular person. I thought I had to be perfect. I thought I was just born in the wrong family, the wrong financial status, the wrong everything. I just thought, people who had everything were just lucky, and that's why they had things like a family. They had, not to get too deep, they had a family, they had financials, they had jobs, they had a house, they had a car, they had everything, the nice backpacks when I was going to school, the nice school materials, their clothes didn't smell like smoke. I just thought they were just lucky they had all this stuff, and I was just unfortunate, and woe was me. I didn't know any better. I mean, I'm a kid growing up, and you learn to go off of what you're told instead of, you don't have the wisdom to know and think for yourself. And even adults to this day, they still don't understand, because nobody's even ever told them, or they never listen to anybody tell them that they are capable of doing great things as well. And so, coming from somebody who's an extremely introverted person, especially growing up, man, I would be so scared to talk to people. And not only that, but I'd be so scared that somebody would make fun of me, or somebody would call something out, or I was so scared and hindered by what people think about me. And it's okay, because I think naturally everybody in some point and in some way cares what people think about them. The difference is the people who actually act on it, and their life is controlled by that fear, and then those who are not. So majority of my childhood, and even my teenage years, and even my adult years, I was driven and geared towards, that fear of what people thought about me. And for that reason, that was one of the driving forces of me trying to be better in just about every avenue of life. And whenever I wasn't, or I failed, that's when I would get discouraged. That's when I would feel, down. I would feel like, man, Alex, why aren't you good enough? Why can't you do this like these people can do it? And as stupid as it is, basketball was one of those things. Like, I love the game of basketball, and I consider myself pretty decent, but when I go up against like college kids, like I was playing against college kids at the open gyms and stuff, and I would beat myself up because they were dunking, they were like making these crazy shots, they were stealing the ball from me. Like, I'd never played with college kids before, and the people that I play with probably aren't the greatest. Like, there's some pretty good people that are way better than me, but on an average scale, I was pretty average, and I was always pretty one of the top players in the average group of people that I played with. And I would get so discouraged when I would play with these college kids, and they would whip my ass because I played basketball on the weekends. I was a weekend warrior playing against these dudes that do it full time, and I would beat myself up like, man, why aren't you good enough? And if I wanted to play in the NBA or play for college, maybe that would be justified, but I wasn't. I was just a weekend warrior, and I would really beat myself up over it. And that applied in every aspect of my life. That's why I brought that up, because you're probably like, well, who cares about basketball? But this actually applied to every instance of my life. I was comparing myself to others, and I thought because these guys were good that they were just naturals, and I wasn't bestowed the abilities to do that stuff. And it really was not until I was in business for myself that I understood this. And I hope I can help change your mind and help you flip that switch to let you know that you don't have to be born with all these natural talents. Actually, to answer the question, you don't have to be born a leader. You don't have to be born with all these natural talents. You can be created. I believe leaders are created and they're not born, because people with natural talents can still be outworked by those who are not with the natural talents, but they consistently put in the work. And that's so true, because I'm naturally great at a lot of things, but there's people that surpass me in those avenues because they put in more work. And I find it very interesting that there's no difference between me and anybody else, and just like there's no difference between you and anybody else. It just matters how you look at yourself and how you look at the world. Every problem that comes your way, how do you look at it, right? If you think about it, a leader is somebody who takes a situation and they spin it in a direction that works in their favor so they can get that outcome that they want. For example, I had somebody on my live Q&As for real estate say, hey Alex, I'm not 18 yet, so I can't sign the contracts and I don't know what to do. And if you're watching this is not a dig at you. This is somebody, this is something that a lot of people come across, and even myself as an adult. I mean, I was over 18 and I was like, I'm not rich, I'm not smart, I can't do any of this stuff. That's not the case. So I'm not pointing fingers at you. I'm just using it as an example because it's off the top of my head. But think about it like this. Instead of looking at the problem, I'm not 18 and I can't do this yet, look at it as this. Man, I'm not 18, I'm way ahead of the game. I got so much opportunity that if I get a head start now, even if I don't and I'm not able to continue, I can cross that bridge when I get to it, right? I can get to that road when I get to it. I'm gonna get everything done up until that point where I need to sign that contract with somebody who's 18 and older. And at that point, I'm gonna find somebody who will do that. I will find somebody who will legally sign this contract, even if I have to pay them some money, because I know the experience is worth more than the money. The knowledge is worth more than the money. And we'll get into that into a different Motivational Monday video. But chase the knowledge, guys. Don't chase the money. Don't go out there chasing the money. When you chase the money, you make mistakes. You make very bad mistakes. You start betting the farm. And for those who don't know what that means, I hope that you never have to. But basically, you spend all your money on this one thing because you're chasing the money, and then it doesn't work out, and now your back's against the wall and you got to figure it out. I've been there a time or two, and it sucks. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm saying is, if you're not the best at something, if you're not that most extroverted person, you're afraid to talk to people, you're afraid of what people think about you, you're afraid to be criticized, you're afraid of going up and talking and public speaking. Public speaking for me was so hard, man. My face would get so red, and I would just like have nightmares that people would make fun of me for it, and I would lose my breath. I couldn't breathe when I was talking. And so it wasn't until I was in the military in a public speaking group called Toastmasters, and I strongly recommend, if your public speaking is your number one fear, it's like 90% of Americans' top number one fear next to drowning. I encourage you to go check out Toastmasters. I don't know what's going on because of COVID, but I know that what the whole point of Toastmasters is for you to do a public speaking, or like a public speech in front of this group, and everybody meets the same people, and you guys basically critique each other, and you point out how many times you say how many times you pause, how many times you incorrectly said something. So you're like, man, they're gonna criticize me, but actually it's very uplifting, and it's very cool how they do it. They essentially tell you everything you did wrong and give you suggestions on how you do it right. And the best part about it is the next time you go to do your speech, you do that much better. Like, it is so powerful, and they give you roles and you become the critiquer, right? And it doesn't matter who you are or how experienced you are, you start critiquing people, and it's just like everybody gets a chance to critique. And so it's not everybody beating up on one person. And because of that group, it helped me learn how to public speak properly. I can't speak grammar-wise properly, but it taught me how to speak properly. It taught me how to not say as much, even though I still say it. But I have a lot of people who say you sound very, you sound very natural. You sound very well-spoken, right? And the truth is, I'm not. I edited out a lot of this stuff, but even in person, I am not that great at being well-spoken. But what I am good at comes from places like that, the Toastmasters, those groups. So if you're wanting to be better at something, you want to be more outgoing, Here's my advice to you. If you don't want to be if you're not a natural born leader and you're not a natural born at anything or any of these things that you want to be, you have to go out and do them. And you have to get better as you do them. And I know that's not the advice, and I know that's not what you want to hear, because you want to take the easy route, as all of us do. You want somebody just to like give you some piece of information that's magically going to make you 10 times better. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You have to go out there and put yourself out there. And I guarantee you, look at it like this. You got to ask yourself, when I go out there and I do this thing, when I go out there and do this public speaking, am I going to die? And the answer is no. You're not going to die. Am I going to survive it? Yes, you're going to survive. You might embarrass yourself. You might fail. You might make a mistake. But that's all part of the process. And I encourage you, once you do that, you're going to realize, man, that's not so bad. And to help you, understand exactly what I'm talking about, think about the last time you did something really embarrassing. Just think about it. And then ask yourself, how many people at that event, or how many people saw you do that embarrassing thing, actually remember it? Chances are none of those people remember it. They might remember it in like a brief second, but they're not going to like, oh, this guy's the only person, or this girl's, I associate them with this one time. It's just doesn't happen that way. So the answer to your question, the answer to the question, are leaders born naturally, or are they created? They are definitely created. And if you're not the most skilled, or you're not the best at something, that doesn't mean you can be. Persistence beats resistance. Remember that. And consistency is key. Those who put in the action each and every day, even if it's at a 10% level, as somebody who puts in 110%, one day out of the month, in 10 days, 11 days, you've already put in more effort than that person. And there's another saying, and this is probably the biggest eye-opener for me, is whenever you have somebody who's really good at something, it might take them half the time, or even a quarter of the time it takes you to produce that same task. But once you do that same task many, many times, you become as good as that person, right? And so sometimes we have to work harder than others to get the same results in different avenues, whereas we might have to take less work and less energy to do the same results as somebody else who's not good at it. So the scales are flipped, right? You might be really good at something where they're not, and they might be really good at something where you have to work 10 times harder to get to the same level. Doesn't mean you're at a disadvantage. It just means you have to work harder in that one thing. And don't look at it as a disadvantage. Look at it as an opportunity to grow, and look at it as an opportunity to expand your mindset and your knowledge. And just know you are capable of these great things. There's nothing different between me and you, between me and anybody else in the industry, between you and anybody else in the industry, in whatever industry you want to be in. There's no difference. The only difference is how you look at yourself and how you look at the world and the opportunities that are presented to you. You can look at them as obstacles, or you can look at them as opportunities. I challenge you to go out there and grow, learn, earn, and just expand upon your mindset, expand upon your knowledge. If it starts out as a book, that's fine. If it starts out as a 1-minute speech, that's fine. Take every win and every failure as a win. Take every failure as a win and celebrate it. Every failure should be celebrated, because that's one step closer to getting to that victory that you're looking for. Again, guys, this is Alex Harshman with Motivational Monday. I hope you found this series helpful. I hope it's motivated you. If it has, please put it in the comments section what you got out of this video. If it's motivated you, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, whatever. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on the subject. Are leaders created, or are they born? Also, smash that thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe down below. Click that notification bell. That way you get notified of any time I go live, do any Q&As, or if you just want to see me do some more motivational stuff. So, as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.